Hello, everyone, and welcome to D&D News. I am Greg Tito, and I am here to say good morning, or afternoon, or good evening, as the case may be. Wherever you are, it is always time to drink some coffee. On D&D News, as we get ready to talk through everything that's been happening in both Dungeons and Dragons news, even ampersand news. Well, no, not really. As we get ready to introduce Pelham's Hot Mess, occurring in about 57 minutes. There's going to be some hot, water-deep lords and ladies vying for the ever important belt to rule them all. And maybe I is there a bam, bam, bam. Making sure everyone knows there is some hot mess popping off right about here very soon. Pelham Power came in here. I had just given Pelham a directive. I was like, oh, if there's anything fun to show, come on in and bring it in. So I thought he was going to be bringing in something to show, but it was really just that that you all needed to hear. Tolwyn, how's it going? Good to see you. This is now hot mess news. That's right, Lisa. That's what we're at. This awesome coffee mug is for now only available if I send it to you, which I shall do to you if you shoot me a note on the Twitters. It shall be yours. We have cases. We need to get them out there. We were talking about all the storage for swag here in the D&D office. There is a distinct lack of storage and lots of boxes. So one way to get those boxes reduced is to get all the stuff out there for use. Wait, that's not. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm sad for Pelham's Hot Mess. Tonight, starting at 4 p.m., they are playing Lords of Waterdeep, one of my favorite board games. I am sad because I was going to play along with them, but I had forgotten something very important in my family. It is my daughter's 6th birthday today. So I need to run home and get all prepped for the little soiree that we were planning for her tonight. So I cannot play Lords of Waterdeep. It is, again, one of my favorite board games out there. Not just D&D board games, but one of my favorite board games. So I hope, and this is maybe I'm giving some spoilers for hot messes to come, but we may be playing Scoundrels of Skullport, the expansion to Lords of Waterdeep, next week at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. And I hope to join that and take the belt from whoever or whomsoever mayeth earn it today. But I'm pretty sure Lisa is going to reign supreme because she is pretty badass and takes her lords and ladyship of Waterdeep seriously, as we all do. All right. So, yes, it's Greg Latin. That's right. Thank you for all of the happy birthdays to my daughter. She's grown up, and she just learned how to ride her bike, which is fantastic. So that means we can now go on family bike riding excursions. She feels super independent and cool that way, while also playing with Barbies like crazy. And then she's also learning to read at the same time. So she just figured out that her bike has a word written on the side of it, and the side of it is mischief. And she said, "How dare you, bike? How dare you call me mischief?" Which makes me laugh even more because it was us that did that to her, not the bike. Kids. So right, there is that going on, which is super cool for all of my family, not for you guys. But there's also amazing things happening in the D&D world, which is what this news show is all about. So there is tons of stuff out there. Many of them I've jumped into and started playing this weekend with my daughter, my older daughter, actually. The Dungeons & Dragons Essentials Kit. It is out in Target stores right now in the United States. It will be out everywhere on September 3rd. We've heard lots of reports of people going to Targets here in the United States and it being out of stock or unable to find it. The numbers of sales have been awesome, but it also means that distribution to each of the individual Target stores can be a little hit or miss. So find out if it's there, there's new inventory going into the marketplace now, so I can't really say when or where there will be more, but it should be coming out and making it more available to you out there. As I said, it's a great new boxed set. It contains everything that you need to play Dungeons and Dragons, including character sheets on and rules about how to make your first character. It's still pretty robust in its explanations of character sheets. D&D Beyond has a wonderful code in there that you can get started, and I recommend that for new players starting new characters. Export them out or use them on your phones or laptops, and then jump right into the adventure that's written by Chris Perkins. It's fantastic. It's very easy. It takes very little prep. I had not really prepped at all when my daughters wanted to play D&D, so I popped open the kit, and within seconds, I was able to kind of start the storyline. It's very easy. You start in a town. There is a job board there that has things that are going on. There's an overarching story with a dragon that's been terrorizing the neighborhood, essentially, and all of the stuff's interconnected from there, and it's very easy to just jump off and get into it. There's a lot of tactile pieces, so there's cards, and there's artwork on most of the cards that involve the sidekicks, which is a nice little addition to the D&D rules library. You can incorporate sidekicks, which basically act as party members to flesh out a party that might be underpowered, or just to have cool characters to interact with for your player characters. And they provide a lot of benefit. The Dungeon Master can run them, or the player, if they're more advanced and they want to run two characters, they can do that too. It's been fantastic. And I really can't wait for more and more people to jump into the Essentials Kit storyline. The adventure is called Dragon of Icespire Peak. It's in the same area as the adventure Lost Mines of Phandelver that's in the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition starter set, so check those out. It's gonna be neat to see it be consumed by more D&D fans out there. Grab it if you can. There's also the Acquisitions Incorporated book, which is phenomenal. Tons of great artwork, tons of flavor for playing in the kind of alternate fantasy workplace satirical take of Acquisitions Incorporated that's been on display at PAX celebrations for years, a decade of games. And you don't even necessarily need to be a fan of Acquisitions Incorporated to get into the material that's in that book. Again, just kind of a different flavor of D&D presented in a new and interesting way. Tons of great creators and worked on bringing those characters to life. There's stat blocks for many of the characters from those storylines, as well as a campaign that take you from level 1 to level 6. And this is my favorite thing, rules about how to run your own franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated that you can use whole cloth just as they're presented, but you can also use that perhaps if you're a crafty dungeon master for ways to run other organizations within your fantasy realm. And I like that we are providing materials like this that can be jumping off points into more realms of storytelling than has been possible with Dungeons & Dragons before. So Acquisitions Incorporated is out now. It was on some bestseller lists out there, and it is going to really add to the abilities that your Dungeon Master can include in your weekly games. Ghosts of Saltmarsh is also out now. That is a book that is all about the sea. We are old men and the sea, and we travel along the waves for love searching me. God, I wish there's like a song about that. Come through the land of the ice and snow. I don't know. It is fantastic. It is a way to jump into adventuring on in a pirate ship or a lawful ship or a privateer. Maybe just you want to get on a boat and check out what's happening in the high seas. And that is all detailed within the book, Ghosts of Saltmarsh. There's a campaign that can run you from levels 1 to 14, I believe, as well as the rules about how to run your own ship-to-ship combat or vehicle combat in general. And it's pretty cool. Check it out. You can get Saltmarsh at your local game store, and if you do, there is an alternate cover that is pretty cool. It's a snarling Sahuagin coming at you, which I really like, and that is by NC Rinters. But the standard cover by Grzegorz Rutkowski is one of my favorites pieces of D&D art too. So Stranger Things is out now, or Stranger Things 3 is out now. I haven't seen it yet. I binged, I believe, season 2 in the few days that it came out, but I haven't found the right moment to watch season 3. But I don't. No spoilers. Absolutely no spoilers. Thank you, Lauren, for letting me know. I have not seen a lick of it, so you're gonna get no spoilers from me. But what I can spoil for you, and I just noticed this about 20 minutes ago. I don't have a graphic for this, although I could call up a graphic of this, I suppose. Here, well, I'm going to talk while I do this so that you can see it with thine own eyes. But if you follow me on Twitter, you might have just seen me talk about it here. But it's pretty crazy to think about because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but Netflix doesn't really talk about numbers very often. They don't say their... well, I could just do mine, actually, don't I? Can I just go to my account? And I'll just do my retweet. They don't really talk about how many people watch their show or how popular... I just tried to do a touch screen. That's not a touch screen. Welcome to the future. The crazy thing, and I'm going to now figure out how to get this. All right, watch this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You guys didn't. I was just talking over that whole thing, and you guys couldn't hear me, could you? Dang it. So you guys got to read it several times. That's okay. Good to know. When I press that button, that means no hearings. Okay, so yeah, someone cast silence. I think it was Pelham. He made it a hot mess. Anywho, what I was trying to tell you is that Stranger Things, 40.7 million households have watched the show in the last 5 days, which is nutso. And it is 18 of those million, 18.2 of those million have finished the entire season, which is nutso. Because if you think about it, that's like back in the day when there were only 3 networks numbers. That's more numbers than most of Game of Thrones, even their premieres, Game of Thrones, when HBO would say it would be in the, in the more popular ones, it was 16 million or something like that. I don't know what the most recent things are, but yeah, I don't know. What, as someone who pays attention to ratings and things like this, these are really staggering numbers, and it means that there's going to be more people playing D&D very soon. Basically, is what I'm trying to say, or at least I hope. So let's get them coming into the fold. They're all going to want to join and play. And that means we've got the perfect product for them, because it is the Stranger Things D&D role-playing game starter set is available now, and it's got all the things you need to play Dungeons & Dragons, like all the other Essentials Kit and starter sets out, all the other box sets out there. Everything's in there to play. You can interact with the Stranger Things IP. There's Demogorgons. The adventure itself is written as if it was from Mike, the character Mike's notebook as the Dungeon Master, and how we put it all together. So look for it. Tell your friends who have consumed Stranger Things and are really interested and want to learn more about playing D&D. There's a starter set out there for them. Or better yet, get them an Essentials Kit, or get an Essential Kit with them and play with them that way, and really get them into this community, because there's so much out there available. So that was a long-winded way, and maybe it was quiet for a little while as well, but it's pretty exciting about all the things that are happening in the D&D world right now. Jammy String, no, and in fact we know we have very little contact with anyone at Netflix about what goes in there. I will say, I don't know if I can say this, but last year when they were filming this season, I was on a call with the prop master for season 3, as well as Mike Merles and Chris Perkins, and we gave them some ideas of how to use props for the show that would be in the 80s, but feel new and interesting and kind of the things that that Mike and his friends would do. I don't know anything. Again, I haven't seen season 3 yet, so I don't know if they incorporated any of our feedback. But that's pretty much been the only contact that I've had with anybody on the creative staff from Stranger Things that we know about. Was just a little bit of a thing about that. But that's what's so fascinating about this phenomenon is that they've been creating this amazing show that is such a great showcase for Dungeons and Dragons, especially from that era, and they've been doing it, without any input from us or without much input from us. So that's fantastic. You'll see. Okay, great, good. No spoilers. Thanks, Jamie String. Anywho, let's go on to some other fun stuff to talk about in the press. And I'm looking for the correct buttons. Okay, so this article is making the rounds everywhere. It was published yesterday. It's pretty amazing. The rise of the professional dungeon master. And when this was talked about, we definitely contributed to this. Is that a sheet that he hangs up that makes it look like a bookshelf? I didn't notice that the first time I saw this picture. Anywho. When we were talking to the writer of this article, we were talking about it under the guise of the streaming and how much that has affected it. I didn't realize how much they were going to focus on a professional dungeon master who just gets paid for the session, not, doing a lot of audio, video, or streaming or anything like that. Pretty amazing to see what he's got going on, and I hope more people jump into it because a quality dungeon master is very it's a in-demand resource. Let's say that people who do it well want to have that experience, and there is something. I mean, I've heard a little bit of a backlash of people who are saying, "Why would they spend that much money?" I mean, I think $300 an hour was one of the rates quoted. But if you think about it, you're like, I want to have an experience, and I want to commit to it. And some people work better at committing to things like that if there's a financial investment. I look to a comparison with people who work out better when they have an appointment with a trainer that they're paying to have that time with them, right? Like people who stay on that schedule better in that situation. And obviously playing Dungeons and Dragons and working out are not 100% comparable, but I think there's something to that, right? That people, if you're investing in time and money to have this experience, and you'll show up if that happens, then if that is going to get more people to show up to D&D games that I'm dungeon mastering, then maybe, dang it, maybe I need to start doing that, right? I'm jumping on that bandwagon and making it happen. And I bet there's people in your community, wherever you are, who would pay for your services. All of you that are watching and listening to this right now. So let's get that idea out there. It is a wonderful service that you are providing in creating a D&D game and a storytelling session for your players. Now, obviously, this doesn't discount all of the fun that people have, but I love that I hold this up in a way like I'm about to take a sip. I'm just gonna take a sip. There is a. I just read that I'm a beardless buffoon, so sorry. I'm reeling from that. Hi, I'm the beardless buffoon. I'm Greg. Anywho, yeah, I get what TK just said too, right? As part of I get your check. Now that doesn't discount obviously friends who's a dungeon master playing with you, getting together. Like that is all awesome, and if that is the situation that you're in, by all means, continue with that and only do what is comfortable. But I think it's also really awesome for folks who are using dungeon mastering as a service and getting paid and getting the check, and I think that's also pretty badass. And I want to normalize that idea and make it out there more. And it's really exciting that Bloomberg Business Week was writing about that phenomenon here in Thing. And if you haven't checked out this article, definitely do go read. It is got some quotes from Nathan Stewart, VP of Dungeons and Dragons, in it, as well as some cool facts and figures that we don't really give to anyone else. So check it out if you can. I also wanted to highlight this. Or did I want to highlight that? No, I didn't want to. I want to highlight this instead. We already talked about the Stranger Things starter set. GameSpot is here talking about it. It's a pretty great way. Well, that's a resounding thumbs up of a review right there. It's pretty great to get involved in D&D and to see if it's right with you. This thing will do it for you, the Stranger Things box. This is a better way of thinking about it. It was just released, and it's about time, and it's only natural for someone who loves the show to want to play along with one of Mike's homespun campaigns. Well, want no longer, for it is there for you. You may do it. And there's also this awesome article that is previewing some books that are coming out very soon. Young Adventurers Guides are amazing. They're written by Jim Zub, as well as Stacey King and a few other amazing folks. These two books, the two covers that you see right there, will be out on July 16th, which is very soon. That's only next Tuesday. You can get them. And Mary Sue did an excellent write-up on them as an exciting and fun way to get younger kids into the series. And I look forward to teaching my niece how to play. That's awesome. These books are aimed at younger readers, but by all means, anybody can pick them up. They're a way to get kind of the ideas of Dungeons and Dragons out there for these younger readers. You know, it doesn't really have game information or game mechanics. Like, you're not going to be able to play only from having these books, but they talk about monsters. They talk about the background of their, their lore, I guess, as well as concepts about adventuring and things like that. So they're pretty fantastic, and I hope more people gets them soon. And then Dungeons and Tombs is another one in that list. Wait, I'm clicking all around here. So Monsters and Creatures and Warriors and Weapons will be coming out this July, and then Dungeons and Tombs is out November, and then I believe Wizards and Spells or something like that, something with spells, is coming out in early 2020. So look for those, and I hope if they're successful, they'll create even more of them. Cool. And then here's a little fun thing that I saw this, and it just made me laugh. Yes. Mac and cheese dice. I think that's a terrible idea, and I don't think anybody should ever eat those. Or not. Who's eating them? That's what I want to know. I have a whole bunch of buttons here that I just wanted to make sure you knew about. Like this one, when I was talking about Actions Incorporated, I should have used it. When I was talking about Saltmarsh, I should have used this image so that you can see them with your own eyes. But now you have. Probably many times before in previous D&D news, if you've watched them. Hot sauce on mac and cheese, Red Hulk 05. Way to use your name to the advantage. Only the Red Hulk, well, that's not true because I like it too. But yes, you definitely got to put a lot of sriracha. Just sriracha it up in mac and cheese. Very good. It's almost like you have your mouth on fire while having your belly full of delicious macaroni and cheese. Oh, yeah. And now, TK, you're hungry. All right, I'm sending over some mac and cheese dice your way. Hopefully you roll high on your hunger rolls and or constitution checks. Or low, depending on how the case may be. Some other things I wanted to make sure. I guess we don't have any images for these. These are Descent products. Oh yeah, here's the Young Adventurers guides that I wanted to show out in a little bit of a bigger image. Yes. And then, oh God, I had all these images why wasn't I showing these when I'm talking about them? I got to get better at this whole thing. There's so much more to explore. But one thing that we haven't talked about yet that I do want to talk about before I move on to D&D Rewind is Descent into Avernus. We have announced this at D&D Live, which was last month. Jeez, No, that was 2 months ago almost. Yeah, we're coming up on in 10 days it'll be 2 months since D&D Live. These are two covers. There's going to be an alt cover and a standard cover, just like we've done with a couple of the other adventures. And that book will be out on September 17th. You'll be able to play Baldur's Gate: Descent into Avernus. It's pretty amazing. I've been seeing the staff here at the D&D office going through the manuscript, making sure it all is up to snuff. The layout looks fantastic. The new art within it is now up on the walls in our D&D area, and it is so great. I really enjoy it. One of my favorite images is from the city, which I don't think we have here, but it's one of my favorites. It has, it's actually from our partner's Larian release of Baldur's Gate 3, that trailer. The image from the city is actually, I believe, a full 2-page blown up spread in Baldur's Gate: Descent into Avernus, and you really get a sense of what the city is like. For really the first time, we've had Baldur's Gate in other adventures. Murder at Baldur's Gate is probably the most prominent when it was released between 4th and 5th edition. But it didn't have a kind of overarching view of what the city looked like in reality. Like there was a map, but there wasn't a, what does Baldur's Gate look like? And this image really shows it off fantastically. So check it out. And because we're excited about Baldur's Gate 3, no release date quite yet. We are working really closely with our partners at Larian. They made Divinity Original Sin 2. Many touted their work on those isometric RPGs in the PC arena as spiritual Don't forget to mute your computer before you go on a live stream, kids. They were touted as really kind of driving home that CRPG goodness in lieu of a Baldur's Gate game. But here they are working on one. We've been trading story information and lore information for more than 2 years at this point, integrating it with our stories and the current thoughts about what's happening in the multiverse. So it's exciting to see that come to fruition. We talked about it a lot at E3 last month. Everyone, press, fans, other game companies are excited about what's happening for Baldur's Gate, as well as how Larian has been working with us in bringing it out. It's going to be on Stadia for early access, as well as on PC. Google Stadia, if you don't know, is a streaming platform for streaming gameplay, not watching of people playing games, although that is integrated with their YouTube thing. But you'll be able to, if you get a Stadia box, be able to play a video game, and then all of the computation for that video game will be happening not in your home. You'll have a controller, and the lag is such that it's not noticeable. You'll be able to use the controller, move on the screen, and as I said, all of the. So there's no need for a console. There's no need for something in your home. So hopefully that all is working out great. We know early access is going to be a thing since Larian really enjoys working in that kind of mode, and that will be happening very soon. Well, not very soon. It'll be happening before you'll find out about any kind of release dates or anything like that. But it is pretty exciting. All right. Now let's move on to talking about D&D Rewind. D&D Rewind is our little video segment where we put together some of the most watched and popular clips from our D&D channel over the last week. We love to highlight all types of fun and interesting role play moments, whether they be funny or dramatic or just downright interesting. Here they are in D&D Rewind, which I will play right about now.
I have every confidence in every single one of you that we will be seen through this. You've never steered me wrong, and you've always done your part.
I do believe helmsman Vinley is the one that steers the ship, Captain, but We understand what you
It's
mean.
a metaphorical. It's a metaphor. What's your name?
Gunner's calling me. Yeah.
As he comes back down, did you say it? Did you say it? You fucking said it. You're my hero, man.
It's double rations today, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, double rations. As big as you want, pal.
5-6 foot thick. This leg just lifts out of the water. Sorry, what are you doing, Flick?
I said to Jagsy, maybe 2 barrels.
I think we're gonna need a bigger barrel.
All right, well, let's do this then.
Well,
An yuzu.
An uzu. I love uzo. Delicious. No, it's not. Don't. It's yeah, good. Dave. well, we've killed him. We've killed him, chat. They're dead. That's it. Killed them dead.
your response just being don't was impressive.
I was trying really hard this whole campaign to find ways to kill 8, and it turns out it's not attacking them with powerful creatures.
The gullet?
Yeah, gullet.
Larynx? I like gullet. All right. Chopping at the gullet, Dark Winter's bite shines.
Chopping at the gullet, Dark Winter's bite. Going for a stab in the night. Sorry, you just had a cadence that was
Yeah, chopping at the gullet, dark winter's night. So it's like a hip hop thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to work.
Just the two of us.
They are talking of our souls and how we are free game. I do not suggest this is going well.
And it's
What can
you
we-
feel
what can we
Alzra,
say?
it's
What can we say?
trying to drag you now.
What would it cost to grant safe passage through the ironclads? We would like safe passage through.
Safe passage. You're dabbing.
You're dabbing.
What are you
Not
dabbing?
quite. Panic dabbing. Panic dab.
That's Rhiannon. Rhiannon is dabbing, not Alzra. Alzra is not dabbing. Rhiannon is panic dabbing.
I'm sorry. I feel immediately dirty that I just dabbed. I'm so sorry. I love it. Thank you, Lisa, for being like, what? No, that was, I know I'm not okay. My arms are moving in strange ways, and I'm not sure why, but I'm going to do it until this segment ends. Oh, gosh. Yeah, good stuff all around. If you want to get your clip or a clip that you are excited about on D&D Rewind, one of the best ways to do that is to create a clip using the Twitch interface and then tweet it out, make more people know about it, and that is the way Steve Sprinkles, who is an amazing editor, and I love him to death for all the D&D Rewinds he's been making, we'll put it at the top of the list, and maybe it'll get seen. So watch all the fun stuff that's going on here on the D&D Twitch channel and nominate some cool things, and you might be able to make it all happen on the next week's D&D Rewind. That's where we hopefully see it. So now let's move on to talking about what's happening in the Adventurers League. The Adventurers League, as you may know, but I will reiterate for those who may not, is the D&D 5th edition's organized campaign. It's the official play campaign, which means you can create an Adventurers League character and take them to your local game store, to a convention, to the bottom of the ocean, to the tip of Maine, to the bottom of Florida. Basically, those are the only two places you can do it. And you can play anywhere, jump in. It's a great way to meet new people in your area who are playing Dungeons & Dragons, as well as interact with the current storyline. So we have a lot of fun stuff from the large adventures that D&D has been putting out the last few years. Waterdeep Dragon Heist was a pretty good season. I'm playing a few of those adventures in my home campaign, weaving it into the official goings-on that's happening in Dragon Heist. And that content is all available on the Dungeon Masters Guild, and I'll get to you in a second. But there's something really cool that was put up for the first adventure of what I like to call, or what people in the world like to call, Dreams of the Red Wizards. which is a story that is a season agnostic, which means it doesn't have to be with any season of the content that I was just trying to explain about. It can be anywhere and you can drop it in. And it is a series that involves the search for a missing young woman kicking off a treacherous journey on the Sea of Fallen Stars, which is an area in the Forgotten Realms. You can find that now on the Dungeon Masters Guild, as we're now linking into it very, very right now. Very right now. That's a real term that people say when they're live on camera. Very right now, you can get that. It can be played very easily alongside what's happening in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, if you are so inclined. In Adventurers League news, if you've ever been to a convention or a local event, chances are you may have played in something called an Adventurers League CCC adventure, or, for those of you who don't know that acronym, Community Created Content. That's a CCC right there. Those are adventures that follow certain guidelines and get to be played in a AL legal way at your event, and then they eventually get published on the Dungeon Masters Guild. And we want to let people know about that, because if you're planning an event in 2020, if you've got a convention out there that you want to have some CCC that you've created for available to more, as well as be AL legal for your event, now is the time to strike. You can apply for that type of status, and it's available right now, and the link will be thrown up there very soon. And all the information should be found at dndadventurersleague.org/start-here/events, is where you'll be able to get a lot of that information. And it's pretty cool. I love that there is this outlet for the community to create this type of content that interacts with Adventurers League, in addition to stuff that they might just post on the Dungeon Masters Guild. So check it out. I also want to make sure everyone checks out this group from the Philippines, which is called Downtime Dudes. And this event really brought together the community to help out our friend, who was the bard in the Writer's First Adventurers League campaign, who had just gone through his third session of chemotherapy for cancer. His savings had been spent during the diagnosis stage, and he really needed help getting back on his feet. And the initial target for this event was to raise more than $300 for the player, but, and I love the way this was written, due to the generosity of players, bloodthirst of the DMs, and awesome cupcake sales, we managed to hit approximately $900 raised by all of these fantastic people to help out a fellow cohort of theirs in dire times. So that's amazing, and I love that there's more and more people who are playing Dungeons & Dragons and sending in their photos from around the world, as well as domestically here in the United States. So if you're interested in getting your photos thrown up here on a D&D News and getting a shout out from me, one way you can do that is to email community@dndadventurersleague.org and do a group shout out there. So you can just include a blurb about what is going on in the photos, what the event's about, anything that you're comfortable sharing, where you're from, and we will share everything that you want us to share here on D&D News if it is selected. So that's pretty cool. And Bert the Blurb is going to be attacking your group in any moment, and I'm going to be applying for a CCC to include Bert the Blurb in all the things going forward. So I talked about Dungeon Masters Guild a couple of times throughout that, because Adventurers League and Dungeon Masters Guild are inextricably linked together, and that is because almost all of the content from Adventurers League is posted on Dungeon Masters Guild. That's where you can find it, that's where you can download it, that's where you can buy it, and it will be delivered directly to your internet doorstep, and you can start playing it right away. PDFs there are abound. And it's not just Adventurers League stuff. There's DungeonMastersGuild.com lets you publish any 5th edition material for fun and profit, and it's the only platform where you can publish adventures and supplements using Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, Ravnica, and other Wizards settings. I said any, but it doesn't really include any. I just meant things that fall into those categories. For those of you who are yelling at me internally, that's the real thing. And there's some Dungeon Masters Guild news that I wanted to show off. So we've mentioned tons of Dungeon Masters Guild supplements in the past. character options, new rules, and counter collections, but DMG creators have made entire campaigns as well. And this is one of them that we wanted to highlight. This is from JVC Perry, and it's called Call from the Deep, as you can see. It is a 270-page Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign for character levels, taking you all the way from level 1 to level 12. And reviewers on the guild say this is a must-read aquatic adventure, especially if you love mind flayers, pirates, and Lovecraftian horror. And who doesn't love at least one of those things? All right, well, maybe some of you do. But it's pretty cool. Here is some of the interior... wait, no, is that from this? It is from this, yes. And here's some of the snippets of what's happening here. After crash landing onto the material plane, a strange, otherworldly ship brings with it an unexpected wave of piracy, hideous creatures from the bottom of the trackless sea, and a notorious foe who has been awakened from the deep. Intent on destroying the world as you know it. So these are some of the interior pages. That's chapter 5. I love the going through the Baldur's Gate. That actually is from, I think, Murder at Baldur's Gate. I think that's the map that I was referring to. And some other fun stuff here about pirate kings and kraken priests. I'm getting a very distinct Pirates of the Caribbean vibe there, especially by that dude there in the bottom right. Good stuff. As we have been saying about the Dungeon Masters Guild, there is just a wealth of information, mechanics, spells, a bunch of stuff on there. Full Moon Rising 99. I do not believe it is AL legal. This is not from the Adventurers League. This is just from the mind of JVC Perry. So if you want to jump into it and use it, that is the way. Not specifically but only digital right now. But looks like someone's talking about whether or not it's a print-to-own version. You might be able to get that at some point in the future. And if you do want that specifically for that book, I would definitely make sure and put that in the comments and flag the Dungeon Masters Guild to see if that can be possible going forward. It's very cool. I love the craft that goes into it. I mean, I don't think people realize how much work it is to, if this is new art, commissioning new art and laying it out in a way that makes sense, you know, and some of the secret sauce that we do here at Dungeons & Dragons. But this one looks pretty darn awesome. So if you haven't, check it out now. It's still a thing. And I enjoy that it is being asked at a price that makes sense. I mean, the amount of work, it's 270 pages that JVC Perry did. There's a lot that went into that. And so I think it's totally worth the $40 asking point price right there. And you should too. So jump in, play it, and let me know what you think about it. There are a couple of other cool things coming out there as we get ready for Pelham's Hot Mess. That's going to be starting in about 15 minutes. They are playing through Lords of Waterdeep. There is amazing people who are going to be playing, including Pelham Green himself, Lisa Chen, Bill Benham, who is a former admin for the Adventurers League and now a producer here at Dungeons & Dragons, and Kate Welch will be joining as well. I'm sad I'm not. I have to bow out, but I may be playing next week as we'll be playing more Lords of Waterdeep and perhaps using a certain expansion that came out, Scoundrels of Skullport, which includes a pretty fun dynamic. But that's next week. You'll be watching these guys play, and let's see who will reign supreme as the belt holder in just a few minutes. Beamdog, our friends at Beamdog are doing some amazing stuff. But one of them is the collector's pack for several Dungeons & Dragons video games. They've collaborated with a company called Skybound, where you can get Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment, and Neverwinter Nights. Those games are all coming to the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox One. So previously, those were only available on the PC platform. You can now get them and play them on your console. Many people are playing using the Switch and the touchscreen interface that's available with that, as well as through couch co-op on the console. So they're older games. They definitely have been enhanced and brought up to current levels with a more modern UI, as well as some streamlining of some other user experience elements. But they still are very old. And one thing that comes to mind is that the writing really is fantastic. You should jump into it if you can. It looks pretty darn cool. So they are available now on those platforms, but you can also get collector's packs, which are essentially amazing collector's editions of these games with some pretty cool swag in them. Go to that link that Wild Rose Mage just put in there, and you'll get some of it now. But they look pretty cool. The D&D Enhanced Edition collector's packs. You will be surprised at how awesome they are. I was wearing a D&D vintage trucker snapback hat last week. I did not want to wear it again. But it is pretty cool, and it's available from our friends at BioWorld, or just available at Amazon. I know a lot of folks like those hats, and you can grab them. They're pretty cool. They do have an awesome D&D logo on the front of them. If you want a visual of how cool they are, make sure you watch last week's D&D news for that. I also want to highlight Gardens of Fog, which is an adventure that is now currently available on the Dungeon Masters Guild. And this was created with D&D members. Bill Benham, as I mentioned, producer, who is now getting ready to play Lords of Waterdeep in the room behind me. He worked with Dr. B, Dr. Raphael Bokomatsa, and the amazing Wild Rose Mage, who's in chat right now, on this adventure. And it includes not only a storyline that highlights the mental health issues in gaming, as well as what it's like to experience that as a human. Your adventurers go into the mindscape of a comrade and attempt to wrestle with the real demons of anxiety and depression that are going on within that mindscape. There's also a class called the Psychomancer. It's a cleric subclass, and it's available very soon. Not very soon. It's available on as part of the Gardens of Fog package, but you can jump in and play with that in this adventure, or just use that on its own. It's a very cool way to there's clerics that heal the body, and the Psychomancer is basically the fantasy version of what a psychiatrist or a mental health professional would be in a fantasy world. And I like the idea, and as we talked about when we spoke to the authors on Dragon Talk a few weeks ago, I like the idea of Psychomancer. I want to say Neuromancer. Sorry, William Gibson. But Psychomancers being the NPCs that you might see in a large town or a large city like Waterdeep, healing the mind as well as the body, and maybe even soul. That is the normal purview of clerics in the D&D world. So check it out. All of the proceeds benefit Take This, which is a fantastic organization. You may have seen them at PAX or other conventions in which they provide an AFK room, allowing people to kind of chill and get away from the hustle and bustle of convention if that is threatening to them in any way, or if they just need a breather to get their feet back under them at the convention. They provide that service. Take This does it at many conventions, as well as just being advocates for mental health within the gaming industry. It's no secret that a lot of gaming professionals, more on the video game side than the tabletop side, but definitely those of us making Dungeons and Dragons feel a bit of pressure and crunch, and being in the public spotlight, not only by choice, but just by nature of their job, can be very demanding, and we don't always have the words and the ways to talk about mental health in a way that doesn't feel like exploitive. And so Take This does a great job of bringing those issues to the forefront and allowing people to have the conversation. And I appreciate everything that they're doing. And it's been wonderful for me to be able to express myself in that way as someone who, hasn't really engaged with that part of life in the past. And so they've given me a vocabulary. And if that's one thing that they do for you, I love it. But they do even more. So check it out if you can. And I do want to announce right here on D&D News Thank you to Ramen Menus. Amazing prompting. We have just reached out to Keanu Reeves, and he didn't get back to me. I'm sorry. We want him. We want Keanu Reeves to be involved in anything Dungeons and Dragons related. So if anyone else has a line on talking to Keanu, not the cat. We don't want the cat. We just want Keanu to be in a Dragonlance movie. I don't know. What do you think? What character do you think Keanu would be in a D&D canon movie out there? I'll let you guys noodle on that. Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, good idea, Lauren. Sturm? You think he could be Sturm? I guess so. I'm thinking he's not as beefy. I always thought of Sturm as more of a, for lack of a better, like a Joe Manganiello kind of character who's got like more of a body to him. I feel like Keanu would be more of like a wiry swordsman or a duelist rather than a overpowering through strength. But I could be wrong. Maybe he'll take some time to get beefed up and ready to go. Maybe he's following D&D fitness right now, and he's on arm day, and he is making things happen. I think that's what Keanu's doing. So, see, that's my vote, Goblin Wars, Raceland. I think a emaciated, you have to kind of young him down if you're doing the time of the twins stuff, but older Raceland, I think he could really do it. He would have to be a little bit more emaciated looking, but he's a method actor, so he'd just have to not eat for a little while. All right, everybody, I have given you all of the D&D news I possibly can. There will be more coming next week. There's always more to talk about. As always, I enjoy doing this with you guys, and I appreciate you sticking around and watching all the way through as we get ready for Pelham's Hot Mess. I'm sad I won't get to play Lords of Waterdeep, but my money is on Lisa Penrose, taking the belt again, defending her championship from the previous Pelham's Hot Mess, and scoring the most points in Lords and Ladies of Waterdeep. But next week when we do the Skullport, or hopefully when we do the Skullport expansion, I will be taking that belt from her. That is my prediction. It's going to happen. Things will occur. Well, thank you guys so much. That's D&D news. I'm going to shut it down here and get it all ready for Pelham's Hot Mess, which is going to start in just about 5 minutes. So thank you guys. We'll be back. Follow me on the Twitters. Those of you who I promised mugs to from earlier in the chat, I don't know if you're still in here, do send me a note on Twitter. I'll follow you. We'll exchange DMs. We'll get some addresses out there. We've got mugs. Let's watch them. Let's drink them all now together if you've got them. Even if you don't got them, here's to you, D&D community.